Hey guys, Courtney Epps here for another episode of Why You Would Be Brain Dead Not to Own a Home-Based Business. What is your plan B? So I have a friend of mine here. Her name is Jenny McRae, and I want her to just share who she is. Jenny, thank you so much for being on here with me today.
I am so thankful to be here with you.
That's great, because I mean, what I'm trying to share with the world is that we have real people every single day who are winning in network marketing space. I am not in network marketing at all, just so you're aware. I am a tax strategist. But what I found is that by being a part of the home-based business industry, the network marketing industry has massive tax advantages, as well as meeting some amazing people along the way. And you just might make money. So if you attempt to earn an income. So Jenny, if you'll just share with everyone who you are and why you got involved in the network marketing industry and kind of your background. If you still work, if you don't work, just tell us who you are.
Of course. What is going on, everybody? I go by Jenny Elizabeth on Facebook, and I will tell you that network marketing is not something that I ever even thought that I would be a part of. I am actually a nurse by trade, and I have been in network marketing for 2 years, and I specialize in detoxing adults off of substances. That's what I did as a nurse, and I actually retired last year. I got into network marketing because of the product that we are using, and I fell in love with the product, and then I fell in love with the whole idea that there's no caps on what you can do with your income, which is something that I've never experienced in my life. I have a ton of learning disabilities. I'm all over the place. My heart is really, really heavy when it comes to doing things in life. And a lot of the times you hit a cap with your job because you want to put your heart into so much, but you can't get paid for all your hard work that you're doing. So I joined network marketing, and I've been in it for 2 years, and I now am at home. I am pregnant with my first child, and I cannot be more thankful that I am no longer a nurse on the floor, especially at this time in our life, and that I am able to be in the position to help other people on a daily basis at a higher level than I did even with my nursing career.
I love it. I love it. So I'm assuming you're married.
I have a domestic partner, but we ain't married.
That's okay. That's okay. So you've got a domestic partner, and does he work?
He does have a full-time job, and he also does network marketing.
Awesome. And, how long has he been involved in the network marketing space? Is that how you guys met?
2 years. Yeah.
Wow. So were y'all in the same company?
We are part of the same company. We were dating for a little bit right before it, and then he got involved, and he said, "You're going to be my first promoter." And I said, "No, sir, I am not." And he said, "Yeah, you're going to be so good at it." And I said, "No, you can keep that all to yourself." And here I am. So
I love it. I love it. So, and that's one of the great things. I'll tell you that going from a world of working, I had a business. I had an insurance agency and an accounting firm for 3.5 years, and I worked 100 hours a week. I was away from my 3 children at the time, 100 hours a week, and there was nights that I slept at the office because it was like if I made it past 8 o'clock working, that there was no need in going home because I wasn't going to get to see them. Right. And then after I lost my insurance agency and my accounting practice, I put it up for sale, and the guy sold it to quit paying me. I lost everything. I was $250,000 in debt. About 10 years ago, I could not afford to file bankruptcy, and I had to start over. And I always wanted, at the time, I wanted a fundraising company, and I started that from scratch, and I was able to work from home. And there's nothing like being able to be at home with your kids, building a business. And to the point where this past September, I had 13 employees working out of my house with 6 children, a dog, and a husband. And code enforcement stopped by one day, and they're like, "You can't do this." And I'm like, "But I don't want to go anywhere else. Like, I want to be at home with my kids." And so they're like, "No, you're going to have to relocate." And, at the time I was really scared, because I was scared to make that next step, that I needed to get an office building. For the longest time, I was so scared of making a bad decision. Right. And, that's the one thing I think I really, really love as I continue talking about the network marketing industry. It's like, you can make a bad decision and it's not going to cost you everything that you own like it does in a business, in the real business world.
Right. Yep.
And you've got people. So tell me what you love. I mean, other than the fact that you can stay at home with, your soon to be baby. Do you know if it's a girl or boy yet?
We're not going to know till baby gets here.
I love it. That's what I did with my first baby. So, and I'm assuming that I don't even know. This is the cool part, guys. Like when we do these interviews, I don't even know who the people are typically. So it works out really well because I don't know if they make a lot of money in network marketing. I don't know if they make a little bit of money in network marketing. Have no clue what their background is, and until we have these conversations, but they're just all real, raw people that are just sharing their story. So you got involved for the product, right?
Yes.
And you fell in love with what? What kept you in it? Was it money or the product that kind of kept you going?
I would say, well, I was in love with the product, but I would say the communities, because there's not a lot of times that I've experienced where people see you for who you are instead of what you financially are bringing to the table. Yes. So it didn't matter if it was one product sold or I was top in sales. I was still seen at the same level.
Yes. And see, and that's the funny thing. Like there's so many people that'll come around as they're like, you're not making any money. That's not the point of a lot of people that get involved in network marketing. Like they may get in and they may say, well, I could make some money here. And they see, obviously the tax advantages. There's a lot of people that are in network marketing space have no clue that there are massive, massive tax advantages by being in the network marketing industry or home-based business industry. But the people that you meet while you're in network marketing, I mean, that truly is a reason why a lot of people just stick around because they feel like they're a part of something greater.
Yep.
And so tell me, I think my favorite part of network marketing, I'm not in network marketing yet again, but is the personal growth and development. So the continuing education events that you are around. So do you have company events every year?
Yeah, multiple events every year. And then our team has team events.
Do you do them monthly? Do you do them weekly?
Well, we have weekly Zooms. So you get developed on a weekly basis. I attend multiple Zooms. I'm on Zooms all the time. And then in-person events before all of this had happened. It was probably every quarter you had an event.
I love it. Yes. Awesome. I miss events. Like I just finished up UPW with Tony Robbins this past weekend. It was 4 days. It was amazing. But, and it was a tax deduction, by the way, and it allowed me to build my business. And actually I came up with one idea that I think will make us probably $5 million in the next 12 months. So, events are pretty amazing. Now, the people you find in the companies, what I've found is that people are willing to help you get to where they've gotten because they financially benefit from you. So tell me your experience. Like, I'm sure you love your downline. I'm sure your upline you probably had issues with in the past. Maybe you butt heads, but at the end of the day, it's like you're all this one community that's there to help each other.
So I've never really butt heads with up or down. It's just we've never really done that. And what's even cool is like there's sidelines, so people I don't financially benefit from whatsoever. And those are the individuals that I probably run the strongest with. And then we filter down to our team. So, I mean, our organization is just so collaborative and that truly what fulfills me because I'm not a competitive person, which is bizarre because I do rather well, but I'm not competing. I'm just like helping. And having competitive people around me has really helped me, keep on going. But we just don't have, I don't have that. I just don't have that. My upline is my boyfriend's best friend. So that's fun. And then my downline, I count my blessings like 100 times. I don't know how I ended up with such an amazing organization.
That's awesome. And that's like, guys, if you, I love network marketing. But I can't be involved in it because I speak for network marketers and network marketing companies.
Yeah.
And so, I'm like, well, I need the same personal growth and development. I need to have a peer group that I'm around.
Yeah.
My peer group is Platinum Partnership with Tony Robbins, because that's the closest thing that I can get to being a part of, this peer group of people who are willing to help you get to where they've gotten, and it's not a competition. And that cost me $85,000 a year.
Yes.
Plus $40,000 in travel. So if you think for 1 second that the network marketing industry is somewhere where you're going to lose money, like that's a lot of money. A couple $100 to go to an event is just truly, I've learned so much along the way at an event. So, and here's the great part, and I want you guys to understand this, is that 46% of Americans, and it's not great, but I want you to understand how beneficial this industry is. But 46% of Americans did not have an extra $400 to their name before the pandemic happened. And 69% of Americans didn't have an extra $1,000 to their name before the pandemic happened. And here's the great part, is that I'm going to give you the knowledge today to help you understand and help you educate your friends and your family and your downline and your upline and your sideline on why they would truly be brain dead not to have a home-based business. And the reason why that I'm so adamant about it is that there are 2 tax systems in our country. And you have to understand that. First and foremost, if you're a W-2 employee, you will pay more on taxes in your lifetime than you will on food, clothing, housing, and transportation combined. So you think you're making $15 an hour, $20 an hour, but you're not. Like, you're making some of that. You're making 60% of that. The IRS and the state are making the rest of it. And when you understand that, you have to focus on tax strategy. And I just got off the phone with a network marketing, the mom of a network marketer, and she's retired. And she makes about $70,000 a year. She actually has a job, so she's still working. But she is retirement age, and she's collecting Social Security, and she makes $27,000 a year in Social Security, which is not enough to live off of. And because she has another income, she's being hit with paying taxes on $23,000 of the $27,000 that she makes in Social Security, which is forcing her into a higher tax bracket. So guys, like, she's paying taxes on taxes that she paid. Do you understand that? Like, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And the only thing that I had to say for her is that you need to join your daughter. You need to find something you're passionate about that you can share with people so that you can move out of the tax system that was created to steal your wealth away. And that is the W-2 employee tax system. And whether you like it or not, whether you get mad at me or not, I'm not telling you to quit your day job. What I'm telling you is that it is a fact that there are 2 tax systems in America. There is one for the salaried employee that was created to steal wealth. There was one for the business owner that was created to provide wealth. And the reason why there are 2, guys, and it will make perfect sense, especially now, is that business owners are taking care of a lot more people than one W-2 employee. So a W-2 employee is taking care of a household. A business owner is typically taking care of an entire business and employees that go along with it. So we are constantly creating more economy. We're spending more money. We're making more money. And then, Congress hopes that we'll hire employees. And 70% of employees are actually hired by small to medium-sized businesses in our country. And so what happens is we get massive tax deductions, tax breaks that we can take advantage of, and somebody has to pay the taxes. So the taxes move off to the W-2 employees, and they end up having 40% of every dollar that they make, if not more, go to pay some sort of taxes in their lifetime. So, tell me, as a W-2 employee, so when you were a W-2 employee, how long were you a W-2 employee and a business owner?
Oh my gosh. Maybe for 8 months, maybe both, 8 for 8 months.
That's awesome. So most people are so scared they feel like they have this certainty in their job, and they can't leave it. So tell me, like, what made you decide, like, I'm done, I can't do this anymore?
Well, this is wild. This is just wild. So I was a full-time nursing student. I went back to school. I worked overnight, and my job when they hired me, they promised me my hours. And, a year into my job, maybe a little bit more, they took away my hours. And I said, well, that doesn't work because I go to school full-time during the day. And I wasn't making crazy income with network marketing yet, but I was valued and I wasn't lied to. So the second that somebody said, actually, you can't have this, I said, here's my 2 weeks notice.
Wow. So you were born an entrepreneur.
I guess so.
You had to have been. And the reason why I say that is because most people can't just decide, just make that decision. Like it takes years of being miserable to say, I can't do this anymore. Even having, like, I've seen clients that make $100,000 a year as a business owner in a network marketing company and make 40 in their W-2 income. And I'm like,
what's happening?
What is going, like, you're paying more in taxes than you're making on that 40,000. Like, what are we doing here? So, but they have to have that whole certainty thing. So, if you had someone that was kind of on the fence, and, I'm sure you spent a lot of money in nursing school, right?
A lot of money.
You still have student loan debt?
No, I paid off. I can't make income claims, but I paid off $11,000 last month, and I've cleared the rest of my student. I am in no debt anymore.
That is awesome. And how long have you been in the company?
2 years.
That's so awesome. And how old are you? Do you mind me asking?
I'm 31.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And and that's so great. It's like, I was talking to I guess she was a doctor a couple weeks ago, and she's still working, but she loves what she does. And so I think truly, one of the things as a network marketer, I think that they may do wrong sometimes is they attack people for having a W-2 job. And the sad part is they don't realize that there are some people that truly live their purpose every single day in having that job.
Yep.
And if you just attacking them for having a job will never get anywhere. Like, attacking anybody for anything is never going to get your point across. It's just going to make you look like a butthole, right? But coming with them and sharing with them, look, here's some education that you probably don't know. The fact of the matter is that the average household in America is making $60,000 a year, and they'll pay $14,000 in taxes this year. That's a family of four. And so that means they're left with a take-home pay of $46,000. And the problem with that is that the cost of living in America is $53,000 a year. So that means that the average W-2 employee is going in debt $7,000 a year to work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, to take 2 weeks paid vacation. And that's why we have such high student loan debt. That's why we have such high credit card debt. And it has skyrocketed since the pandemic has happened. But the network marketing industry, here's the thing, guys, when you join a network marketing business, I'm not saying you sign up and you don't do anything with it. I'm saying when you join it and attempt to earn an income, that means I pick up the phone and I call Jenny and I say, hey, Jenny girl, like, let's go to lunch. I got something I want to share with you. That is attempting to earn an income. I send Jenny a message on Facebook and I say, hey, I'd really like to share with you something I'm really excited about. Or, I could text her. Those are attempting to earn income. When I do that, that tells the IRS that you're attempting to earn income, and you're now can take advantage of tax deductions. And so what happens, most people believe that they have to spend a lot of money in order to make a lot of money in business, but you don't. You really don't. Like, you don't have to be in the accounting world. And I will tell you, like, accounting is not that fun. If you would like to, if you think network marketing is hard, I am willing to allow you to come to my office and do tax returns for 2 straight weeks.
I think your job is much easier than mine. I mean, I think my job is much easier than yours.
Oh my God. Like, please come. Like, I will sit here and talk all day long. As long as people will listen to me, I will run my mouth. But going out there and preparing tax returns, oh my goodness, right? So it's hard. So I'm not telling you that you have to do something really, really hard. It's really, really simple. You just have to talk to people, open your mouth. And for some people, it's not necessarily that simple. And you go to events, but all of that's fun. And so, but here's the thing that I knew I had done when I heard those statistics by Grant Cardone. At that point, I'd already done about 900 tax returns in the network marketing industry. And honestly, I hadn't even given a thought to the network marketing industry for a year and a half. Like, I was on this path. I was going to be a fractional CFO for 10 to 12 companies. They were paying me $10,000 a month to work for them. That was the path I was headed. And I only wanted to work with a handful of clients because, one, that was easier. I had less people to deal with. And at the end of the day, I didn't have to work 70, 80, 90 hours a week during tax season. So it was a perfect scenario. And those statistics hit me. And at the point, I'd already done 900 tax returns for the network marketing industry. And I realized that I knew that without a shadow of a doubt that I could save someone $4,000 to $7,000 a year by having a home-based business. And when I heard those statistics, it stopped me. Like, I stopped on the side of the road and I said, I'm the only accountant that has a voice that's willing to educate people and help them understand. And I can truly free people by teaching them and educating how they can free up money, the money they already have, how they can free that money up just by having and attempting to earn an income in some sort of home-based business. And I shifted my entire accounting practice. I actually gave up all of my CFO clients in October of this past year because I couldn't take care of them the way that I needed to take care of them because we were building our accounting practice so fast.
I love that. We're very thankful that you did that.
Well, it's crazy. Like, I mean, but I wish it was a little easier. But at the end of the day, it is my calling. It is my purpose. It is what I'm supposed to do. So, if you have someone who's a W-2 employee and they don't, they like what they're doing, or they may not like what they're doing. They just don't know that there's any better way. Instead of going after them and attacking them or telling them it's stupid or whatever, you don't know where their head's at. And so, but if you help educate them, like, look, this could help free up $4,000 to $7,000 a year in taxes for you. This could be life-changing for your family. And, one of the biggest reasons why people don't join is, one, 46% of Americans don't have an extra $400 to their name, so they can't even attempt or try. And if they have an employee mindset, they are not going to think, well, what if I could make money? They're constantly thinking of, what if I don't make this money back?
Right.
Right? I'm sure you see that every day.
Yep.
And with people, I'm sure, like, in your downline, I know it used to drive me insane. I'd have people that I'm like, you would kill this. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, why aren't you going out talking to people like you're better than I would be? But they just won't do it. Right.
Yeah.
And it would drive me insane. So I know you have some questions for me. I could talk all day long about everything under the sun, but I want to make sure we answer all of your team's questions, and then we can talk some more about whatever you want to talk about.
We've got a total of, got a couple questions over here. Let's see. The first question that they have: for business expenses, is there a list of items that can be deducted? And what are some examples of those?
Yes. So I have this amazing tax deduction spreadsheet that I have worked on over the last, 16, 18 years. And I will send that to Jeannie, and then Jeannie can get that to you. So I'll send that to her as soon as we get off of here. But, a lot of the things, like just high level things that you can write off that most people don't necessarily realize is that, so I'm a speaker, right? I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm a tax strategist. And because of that, I have a lot of the same benefits as a network marketer does. So if I am speaking, just like a network marketer could be speaking, then I can write off my hair and my nails and my makeup, and my clothes can be written off if those clothes are for a special event. So I'm not telling you like you could go do a presentation and write off all your clothes. What I'm saying is if you go to a live event, or if you buy a certain outfit, like it doesn't even have to be live anymore, but I buy certain outfits that I wear when I speak on stage. And so, because of that, I can write off my outfit and my shoes. So I do write off that, and that's a lot of money. I mean, that adds up. If you're doing presentations, obviously you got to look good. You need hair, you need your nails, you need all these things. So those can be tax deductions. But, thinking about just like every day, because I'm really big on helping you understand that you don't have to spend a lot of money in the business world or in the network marketing space in order to gain massive tax deductions and make money. So there are things called living expenses that are for W-2 employees, which are things like medical insurance and medical bills and, daycare and auto expenses. And we have office supplies and like products that you buy. All of these are living expenses that when you become a business owner are now, they may be even worded differently, but they're now business expenses. So products that you would typically buy, and this is why I would never be a customer inside a network marketing business, not saying you shouldn't be, but why would you when you can buy the product, tell somebody about it? If you love the product, like you might as well tell somebody about it, and then be able to write off the products. Like, because if I'm sharing those products, then one, that becomes a tax deduction for me. So that's a huge, huge deal. And then now it's an opportunity. It's not a liability.
I love
that. So I may make some money, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to tell somebody about it so that I can write off my products. So things like medical insurance, if you're a business owner, or if you are a W-2 employee and you have to have your own insurance, you pay for your own insurance, you can actually write off your medical insurance if you have a business. If you're a W-2 employee and your medical insurance is through work, you can't write that off. So, and the reason why, guys, if you understand, and a lot of you will not, people tell me all the time, like, I don't need business deductions, like I don't itemize. One has nothing to do with the other. You make your money, and then you have something called a standard deduction or an itemized deduction. And if you have enough expenses in charitable contributions, property taxes, real estate taxes, sales taxes, right? And then you add in mortgage interest and you add in medical bills, which you have to go above what's called an adjusted gross income. Yes, 7.5% of that in order to get a benefit from $1 in medical bills. Meaning that if you made $100,000 a year, you'd have to have more than $7,500 in medical bills to get $1. So when you had $7,501, you could write off the $1. Okay. So that would go towards the $24,000 standard deduction that you have if you're married. So 96% of Americans get no benefit from mortgage interest, property taxes, sales tax, state tax, charitable contributions, medical bills, medical insurance. They get nothing. Okay. So we're not talking about itemized deductions. So you make your money, you have a standard deduction for most of you. Mm-hmm. You have business expenses. So business expenses go against any business income, but it also goes against any other income that you have. So what that means is that if I move medical insurance, I can write that off now as 100% tax deductible. Guess what? I don't have to worry about going above 7.5% of my AGI to get a benefit. It's 100% deductible. Medical bills can actually be written off as a fringe benefit. So you can hire your spouse, and your spouse can in turn pay the medical bills, and you have something called an HRA. And so that would be 100% deductible as a fringe benefit. So it's no longer medical bills. Things like your product turn into cost of goods sold. So or advertising, because I don't know how in the world you can tell people about a product if you don't use the product or use the service. Like I can't even fathom how that would work. So that would be something called research and development, right? We've got to research a product in order to actually sell it. Do we not?
Yeah.
So, and then things like continuing education, which is my favorite. Like I spent $120,000 last year on my continuing education between Tony Robbins, the travel, and being a platinum partner. But what I'll tell you is that if you focus on your personal growth and development, which is what continuing education is all about, your business will skyrocket because I was around the right people, I was around the right atmosphere, and I just wanted to grow. And my business, being around Tony Robbins, my business has grown 30 times in the last 3 years. And that's unheard of in the accounting world. And the reason why is because I built it like a network marketing business. I built it to get other people to promote for me. See what we're doing here, Jenny, and Jenny thinks that I'm helping her, but Jenny's helping me. And so it's a win-win situation because I'm giving Jenny what she needs to help her team grow. And she's giving me another story that I could then use and market. And we're going to create this whole world of like these network marketing videos. And when someone types on Google or YouTube and says, is network marketing a scam? They're going to see 47,523 positive things about the network marketing industry, but a video before they ever get to one like bad thing, like it's a scam. But there's 47,000 interviews here that says it's real. I think it's real. I think it's real. But anyways, that's kind of what I'm excited about. But the cool part is the next thing. Let's talk about meals. So if you go out to eat, and a lot of people like to go out to eat.
Well, I'm going to ask you because meals. We do a lot of cooking lives.
Yes.
So
yeah, because you're in nutrition. Yeah, so the groceries can actually be 100% tax deductible because you're using those as advertising. That's part of you cooking and sharing that on social media. If you have people over at your house and you do an event, or you're doing a training, you could either do a prospecting event or training, then that's 100% tax deductible as well, whether you cater or buy the groceries. So what I used to do in network marketing is that I would have an event every time my children would have a birthday. And so I would immediately get a team of people there, right? I mean, so it's like 40, 50 people would show up in my house, and then we'd have a presentation, and then we'd have a birthday party afterwards. And so it was tax deductible. I mean, it's a win-win situation. I mean, really, that. And then same thing, like 50% meals. So you can write off when you go out to eat with someone, when you are talking to them about the product. It could be your upline, your downline, your sideline. You could come hang out with me and take me out to dinner if you'd like to. That would be a tax deduction as well because we'd be talking about taxes. So we just have to do it in my spare time, which is about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Great.
And I think everything's shut down now. I mean, like nothing opens that late anymore. But so meals are a big deal. And the one thing I'll tell you that I typically don't get a chance to tell people is that if you bring your spouse, which your spouse is in your upline, but if you would bring your spouse along and the person that you're with brings their spouse and children, and you bring your children, if you have any, that can actually be 50% off for all of you. And so, and the reason why is because it's meant that the spouse and the children are kind of occupying the other spouse and children so that you can do your business. Yeah. So really cool.
I love it. Hey, if you guys don't have Courtney's book yet, she explains all of this in her book. And yeah, it's all broken down piece by piece. So as she's telling me, I feel like I'm getting an audio version of her book. It's amazing. I love it.
I've been meaning to make that into an audio book, and I just have not had the time. I've just not done it. I actually just read the book like 2 months ago for the first time because I was just like, I'm going to write the book, and I got somebody to rewrite the book so it was not in accounting terms, so it would make it easier for people to understand. And we sold like 11,000 copies of it in this last year, and I never actually read the book again. I was like, I think it's good. Let's just go with it. And so I read it like 2 months ago, and I was like, oh, chapter 1 and chapter 7 have the exact same paragraph that start. I'm like, people just think I was reiterating, right? Because I don't proofread. So I'm like, well, we made it. It did well.
It's a great book.
So other things that you can write off are things like travel. So, I'll tell you what I'm doing this week. I guess we're going to do it. We're going to buy a truck, and we're going to buy a camper. and because it's crazy now in hotels, and we have 6 kids. And so we're going to buy that, and then we can go and travel. But while I'm traveling, I can go see my clients and hang out with them and spend time with them. And, but it's also a place, like I'll have an office that is set up that I could work while they're having fun, because the kids got ATVs and, the fringe benefits of having employees. Like my employees are my children, along with 25 other employees. But because of that, there's lots of fringe benefits that you can offer, like a swimming pool, like a gym, like a tennis court, what's the other? Oh, a golf course. So if you want to offer those, and you have employees who work on your property and you allow them to utilize those things, then you can write those things off. So, everything that you do, you can almost force it into being a tax deduction. But I just tell people, like, you have to, every day of your life, you have to be focused on the intent of building a business. And that should be your life's goal, is like, I need to build a business today. How am I going to build my business today? And what am I going to do in order to get there? And then, if you travel and go see your family, you want to go see your family, then you call up someone that's in that area and you schedule an appointment with them and go see them first or last. It doesn't really matter, before, during, and after. And then now you can actually write off that entire travel. Yeah. So, there's just so many things. Now, cell phone, meals, mileage, internet, business use of home, you can write off a portion of your house. And no, it does not cause you to be audited. I have people ask me all that time. It does not. In 19 years, I've never had a client audited over business use of home. I've never had a client audited that I've prepared a tax return for that has been in network marketing. So I've had a hairdresser audited. I had one person audited, but the network marketing space, and they say it all the time. Like, they even told me that in college. Like, if you have a home-based business, if you're in network marketing, like, that can trigger an audit. It does not. It is not. Because the IRS doesn't really know whether you're in sales or whether you're in network marketing, or whether you're an e-commerce business like Amazon, right? And have the same tax benefits along the way. Right. So I go over, like, dues, monthly dues can be a tax deduction as well. Gosh, I'm trying to think. Medical insurance, medical bills. I think I read that. That's a lot. Oh, hiring your kids. Big deal. You can hire your kids. You can pay them $12,000 a year. They don't have to pay taxes on it. If they're under the age of 18, you don't have to pay taxes on it at all, as it's a business expense for you. And then there's no FICA, there's no unemployment, there's no federal, there's no state taxes on them. You don't have to match the FICA taxes as an employer typically would. And then that saves between $3,000 and $4,000 a year minimum for the average person, just to be able to write that off. So we have 6 kids. I pay them, $12,000 a year. That's $72,000 a year in a tax deduction. That saves me about $28,000 a year in taxes.
Oh, great. I'm catching up to you. I'm having the one, and then I'll get there.
Exactly. I don't know. It costs a lot of money to have kids. I don't know if you want 6.
I don't think I do. Question is, what's the best way for people to track their expenses and to keep track of all of it? And then also, like, if you're so with us, we sell product from a website, which we obviously make commission on, but we also take that and we sell them like variety packs from our home. So what's the best way to keep track of what we sell from our home for taxes as well?
So we have a membership that would probably be very beneficial. If you decide not to get the membership, TaxBot's probably really good software. Hurdler is a good accounting software. Do not use QuickBooks Self-Employed, only because it is very hard to use, and it's not user friendly for accountants. So we typically have to tell clients, like, I need you to go back and redo this because it's not working. We have a membership that includes software and strategy for $39.95 a month, or you could just get the software for $9.95 a month. So I could send you a link on both of those and you guys can check it out. The biggest thing, I think people fail to understand how important strategy is. And I had someone, Ray Higdon actually referred me to someone last week, and she just hit 6 figures in network marketing, and for the first time. And she's like, well, I'll reach out to you next year. And I'm like, you've obviously you've missed it. Like, you're not understanding. Like, I can't help you next year for this year. I need to help you in 2020 for 2020, right?
Right.
And so, I can't wait until 2021, especially when I'm doing, reviewing 3,000 tax returns at this point, and try to help you understand the tax benefits. Because the thing is you can't have an LLC in 2021 if you don't have it in 2020. You can't have an S corp election if you didn't have an LLC in 2020. So you can't spend money that you didn't spend in 2020. So there's just so many things. The structure is typically a huge deal. And while we're at it, I know that's probably going to be a question, so let's talk about it. Is how you should treat your business. When you start making money, you need to have some sort of, you need to have an LLC. Okay. I typically tell people, once you hit a point that you're making $1,000 a month in gross income, then you need to spend the money to get an LLC. And the reason why is, one, it limits your liability, but it starts the clock ticking. So if today you decided you were going to get an LLC, and 6 months from now you decided, well, I needed an S corp election. I'll tell you what that is in just a second. You can actually go backwards to today and actually treat that LLC as an S corporation. And why that's important is, let's say that we make $100,000 this year as a network marketer or in any sort of home-based business. And from that $100,000, now if you were a W-2 employee, you'd have to pay federal, state, and FICA taxes on $100,000. Okay. But as a business owner, we make the same $100,000. We now have deductions from it. So let's say we had $50,000 worth of deductions. When you add up business use of home and mileage and meals and cell phone, and we got a new car and all this stuff we can add in. So let's say there's $50,000 left over. If you have just a sole proprietorship, like you're self-employed, you've got your business put in your personal name and you've never really done anything with it, or you have an LLC. If you make that $50,000, that $50,000 you have to pay not only federal and state taxes on, but you also have to pay FICA taxes on it. And FICA, actually, and matching FICA. So it's called self-employment taxes. So FICA is what's taken out of your paycheck at 7.65% if you're a W-2 employee. And then the employer matches it at 7.65. So when you add the two together, that's 15.3%. So when you are self-employed, when you work for yourself, you have to pay that 15.3%. So 50,000 times 15.3% is now $7,500 plus federal and state taxes. In order to bypass that, here's the cool part. You can either treat your LLC as a sole proprietorship and pay $7,500 in taxes, or you can treat your LLC as a S corp election for tax purposes. And what that means is that allows you to bypass 80% of your self-employment taxes. So what it looks like in this situation is the same 100,000. You have the same 50,000 in expenses. Then you have what's left over is 50,000. You would pay yourself a paycheck of 10. You could take the other 40 out without having to pay self-employment taxes on it. But you'd only pay on $10,000 would you pay the self-employment taxes. So that's $1,500. So let me ask you a question, Jenny. I'm sure you're smart. Would you rather pay $7,500 in taxes or $1,500 in taxes?
That's really $1,500.
Exactly. So that's, yes. And so when you understand that, it's like you can start eliminating, as you continue to make more and more money, you can eliminate a lot of these taxes and get down to a really, really low tax bracket, but also eliminating the type of taxes that you're going to have to pay. So that's the purpose of having an LLC treated as an S corp. And so once you get $1,000 a month in gross income, meaning what the company's paying you or what you're receiving in through cash or whatever, then you need to have an LLC. And then once you have that LLC in place, once you get to a point where you're doing $1,000 a month in net income, meaning after expenses, this is why it's important to keep some sort of track of your income and your expenses throughout the year. So when you get to that net income of $1,000 a month, then you need an S corp election. And if you don't have any sort of tracking, guys, how in the world, people call me all the time. They're like, well, I just think you should be able to give me information. Well, what's your income? What's your expenses? I don't even have a copy of your tax return. Do you know what your tax bracket is? And they get angry with me. And I'm like, how can I help you if I don't have the actual numbers to help you?
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
No, it is not.
No, not at all. That is wild. That is just wild. Well, you get some numbers from them and then you'll be able to roll through and get them what they need. Most people don't know, though. That's the thing.
They don't. And, people all the time, they're like, Courtney, well, I don't want to pay you to do our bookkeeping. And I'm like, well, I don't want you to pay me to do your bookkeeping because we don't make money off of bookkeeping. That's how we find money typically. So as you continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger, instead of you doing your bookkeeping, you could hire us to do your bookkeeping. But what we're doing there is we're finding money and we're keeping things up to date so that we could then in November, I can call Jenny and say, Jenny, I need you to get rid of $15,000-$20,000. Like, I need you to buy a vehicle. I need you to spend money on event tickets. I need you to go ahead and book your flights. Like, I need you to do these things. Otherwise, you're going to owe this much in taxes. So, you can be very smart about your game plan on how to save more money in taxes when you have numbers to review.
Yep. So next question that we have for you is, I'm really excited about that, by the way. I can't wait for Courtney to call me saying spend $25,000 in November. That's exciting. The next question that we have is, do you recommend prepaying taxes quarterly? And the other one is, they kind of go together. And I put it over here in the chat. Is there a dollar amount that we need to be aware of that when we hit it, we should estimate pay quarterly taxes to avoid penalties at tax time?
So what I would tell you is that the typical network marketer who is making less than $25,000 a year in income from network marketing, there shouldn't be any estimated taxes because that's what I typically see as far as deductions go. If you're going to pay estimated taxes, you only need to pay estimated taxes based upon your net income from your business. So to make it maybe simpler, I would say withhold 15% off of your gross, which I think is grossly overstating the amount of taxes that you pay. What I would tell you is that maybe you put 5% of that, 5% of the total 15%, and put that to estimated taxes, because I don't like to give the IRS extra money. Like, I don't like them having my extra money throughout the year. I don't want them holding that and not paying me interest on it. But if you will focus, if you have a net income number, it's very easy. Like, if you take your net income number, we determine what your tax bracket is from your last year's tax return. It's typically, between 15 and 25%. Like, then you would know exactly what you would need to pay in estimated taxes. You would just divide that number by 4. But if you don't know that number, I would definitely say kind of withhold at least 10 to 15% off the top, your gross income number. And then you should be perfect. Like, you should not have to worry about taxes if you will do that. The problem is most people do not. Most of our clients don't pay estimated taxes. A lot of them, especially the smaller clients, they don't even know what they would pay unless, we do provide them vouchers when we prepare their return. So it's kind of always based upon their last year tax return. And as there's so much changes now with the network marketing space, it's crazy. Like, we've got clients that are making, gone from 1 million to 2 million a month. Like, I mean, it's nuts. Like, we've had clients, triple, quadruple in size, over a matter of months. And, it's amazing. But as far as estimated taxes go, I would say 10 to 15%, keep that gross off the top, and 5% of that maybe pay estimated taxes, because at the end of the day, there's so many things that as you continue to make more and more money, that you're going to be able to not only decrease your taxable income, but you'll also be able to offset and, treat the LLC as an S corp election.
Right. Do you recommend that they pay quarterly taxes?
Well, that's estimated. So,
Okay.
yeah, those are the same thing.
Okay.
If you have now quarterly payroll taxes are completely different than estimated taxes.
Okay.
So quarterly payroll taxes are for people to have an S corp election. So you're required, if you have an S corp, to pay yourself a paycheck. And I consider that paycheck to be about 20% of your net income.
Okay, cool.
So it doesn't matter if you do it like at the beginning of the year, in the middle, or throughout every single month. If you process a paycheck, it's just you have got to process at least 20% of your net income in a paycheck. And a lot of people don't realize, once you start with payroll taxes and payroll tax returns, you have to file those every quarter, whether you pay yourself or not.
Okay, that's good to know. The next question that they have is, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not the professional, so I ain't going to even put my opinion out there in the world. Do they have to get a reseller's permit, or can they get a reseller's permit and not pay taxes on the product that they're selling as trials? Or do they need, or should they have a business license?
So the great part about being in network marketing is you typically don't have to have any sort of business license. You don't have to have a reseller's license. And the first question is a question that you're going to have to ask the company. So typically you would be able to, have a retail license and provide that to a company that is a wholesaler, and they will be able to not cost you or not make you pay sales tax. But typically network marketing companies, they're required, I think by law, to withhold sales tax no matter what. So that would just be a question you'd have to ask them. But if you get a retail license and you are in a typical world like general merchandise, if you're buying product for a retail store, you would typically have something called a retail license, and then you wouldn't have to pay sales tax, and then they wouldn't have to withhold sales tax as the company. But I just am not sure if they even have an option to do that or not for the network marketers.
That makes sense. I am rolling through it. You answered a lot of their questions. We do have one here that she's married.
Yeah.
This is so fun. I'm looking at her face on the screen and your face at the screen. She is married, and she has not had a job since 2014. So she usually files together, her and her husband, on TurboTax, and it's normally been really easy. But she's never owned her own business. And so she wants to know, should they file together? Should they file separate? How does self-employment tax work? Home office deductions, which you answered a lot of these questions. Small business tax deductions, eligible for EITC, which I don't even know what that means. So there are some questions for you.
That's earned income tax credit. So, all right. So let me step back and answer the first one, which I already forgot what it was. You're going to ask me the first question again.
Just to let you know, she got 8 questions here. So the first one is, will she still be able to file using?
Oh, yes, got it. Married filing jointly versus married filing separately.
Perfect. There it is.
So you are almost always, like 99% of the time, you are much better off to file married filing jointly. And the reason why is because you typically will lose your credits, earned income credit, child tax credit, any other credits that you have. You lose those if you file married filing separately. The other thing is that you're not entitled to take the itemized deductions, because it wouldn't be fair if one person took a standard deduction and somebody took the itemized deduction. They won't allow you to do that. So, and the last thing is that you typically have somebody who's making more money than the other, whether that be the husband or the wife. It really is irrelevant. If one's making $100,000 as a W-2 employee and one's making $20,000 as a network marketer on paper, right? That's the thing I love. I love when husbands call me, like they'll book a tax strategy session as if they were calling me to try to get me to tell them that their wife should not be doing network marketing and is costing them money. And I'm like, the last one, because I'm really, really nice until like it's like, seriously, okay, so let me break it down to you, buddy. And that's exactly what I said to him. Let me break it down to you, buddy. What your wife is doing is she's actually making money and she's not paying taxes on that money, because the money that you guys were already spending before, like your living expenses, she's now getting to deduct those off of her taxes. And not only is she not paying money off of the money that she's making, the money she was spending every day anyway, buying products and all these things, now those products are tax deductible. And guess what? She has a loss on paper, which you should be happy about, because it's offsetting the income that you make. So she's actually allowing you to pay less in taxes, and she's bringing home more of your money than you bringing home. Like, at the end of the day, like, you should be thankful. And I mean, like, he was speechless. But I mean, it's so true. It's like, people don't understand. It's like, you show losses on paper.
Right.
You don't necessarily have a loss. Amazon showed losses for 20 years. Amazon did not pay taxes last year. They made $11.2 billion. Didn't pay taxes. And the reason why is they spent money on vehicles, right? So if you get to a place where you make 50 grand and you go buy a vehicle that you're using 75% for business, well, you write off 75% of that vehicle. You can write off the mortgage, the interest on the vehicle. You can write off all these things. And so what typically happens is somebody will make more money than the other on paper. I always say on paper. So that 100,000 and maybe your 20,000, what happens is it pulls one down as far as in a lower tax bracket, and it pulls the other one up. And so you end up paying less in taxes to combine them together. And the biggest problem I see is people that go to H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt or whatever, and somebody will talk them into filing single head of household, which is illegal, by the way. If you're married, you can't do that. But they're losing out on massive benefit, because the person who's filing is actually getting less of an earned income credit and child tax credit, because the spouse that's making the money, it would actually help him so much more to file together. And so they're putting themselves in a hole. And my friend calls it a tax hole. So they're putting themselves in a tax hole. Like, so don't be a tax hole. Like, you should file married filing jointly. You know, you should take advantage of the tax deductions that you're entitled to take advantage of, you know, and at the end of the day, you're going to come out so much better. And then you need to educate other people. Like, people need to know this information. That's why I'm sitting here doing these interviews. Like, the world needs to understand the massive tax deductions around having a business, and that if they don't find a way to have some sort of business, if you don't find a way, you will never have wealth. Like, you will never. 4% of the population at age 65 is wealthy. 1% is wealthy, and the other 3% are well off, meaning that they can actually take care of themselves. The other 96% are dead broke. They are living on government or family support.
Yeah, that's no good. We got one more question for you, and then I know we got to wrap this up. So so the way that our company pays us out is like they allow us to get paid, and then what we can do is, instead of paying ourselves that money, we can purchase product with it.
Yep.
So the question is, if we're using the income that the company is paying us to purchase product without it ever going into our bank account and us actually being paid on it, can we count that as income, or can we write that off?
Both. You count it as income and then you write it off. So it wipes it out. Same thing like with travel. You know, a lot of times companies, the only way that companies that can actually take advantage of the deduction, if they give you a trip or if they give you product, they would typically have to add that. I mean, they're required to add that into your 1099. And so in order for them to get a benefit from it. So even though you're paying for it, let's say, you know, you have a vehicle and you get a car allowance. Well, now you can write off the vehicle. If you have travel that they're adding into your income, you can also write off that trip. So whatever that trip would have cost and what they're adding in, then you can write that off as travel, because it's the same as it would be like me borrowing $100,000 from the bank and then spending that to pay for cubicles, right? And office supplies and things like that. It doesn't matter where the money came from. It just matters what I bought the money, what I spent the money for.
Right.
That's the deduction. So yeah, so you claim as income, and then you would write it right back off. So you're not paying taxes on it.
Awesome. That's all their questions.
That's awesome.
You nailed it.
We had a long, like, this was like 1 hour. Like, this is the longest live ever. But I think we provided so much value, and we helped so many people, and they're not even going to have any questions. Like, you could probably go out right now and create your own LLC, S Corp election, set yourself up on payroll, and prepare your own corporate and personal tax return with all the information I just gave you.
And not be a tax hole at the end of the day.
Exactly. So I'm just kidding. Most people can't do that. It is a lot of work. I have put in the comment box or the link. I put a link to book a tax strategy session with us. If you want to, it's $99. So anybody who needs more help, I know that I just threw a whole lot at you. Understand, it took me 19 years to get to this point, right? And I've lived, sleep, and breathe business for the last 19 years. And I've lost everything I owned and gained it back, and I lost it again and gained it back. And I'm keeping it this time. So, I just want you to understand that this is not hard for people who understand it. It might cost you a couple $100. You're probably better off to get us to do the work for you, and you focus on what you do well. Please. But if you want to do it, you're more power to you. Like, what I do want you guys to understand is you need to take advantage of the tax deductions, but you've got to have some sort of software. You need to make sure you're tracking that. If you're not good at that, you need to. Tony Robbins says that you need to get people to do things that you can get them to do, and you do what you do best, right? So what I do best is talking and running my mouth, and the only person that I know of, I haven't found somebody to review tax returns for me. So I review every tax return that walks out of my office, and I take care of every client over $250,000 in our office as far as a tax strategy session, because I want to make sure that we're providing as much value as I possibly can to them. And, but I do review every single tax return that walks out of here, every one. And, and I always find money, because I understand it. I'm a business owner. I have W-2 employees that work for me. They don't necessarily understand certain deductions. And so I do. And so it's a process. So if you feel overwhelmed, that's not the purpose of this Zoom. The purpose of this is to help you understand that there are ways to save money in taxes, that you need to move from being a W-2 employee to a home-based business. And at the end of the day, we're here to help if you need us. The other thing is I posted a link to my book for free. So it's you can download a free download of my book, More Relaxing, Less Taxing. And
y'all need to read that book. Yeah. Read it multiple times. It is such a good book.
Well, I've got another one coming out. Actually, it'll go to print here this week, probably have it in the next month. But it's called What's Your Plan B? Why You'd Be Brain Dead Not to Own a Home-Based Business. Because the first one was about owning a business. This is about owning a home-based business, and it's actually a prospecting tool. So for network marketers to give to people and say, hey, you don't have to listen to me. Just listen to her. She can tell you all about all the things that you need to do. So that'll be coming out in the next month, and I'll send you that information when I get it.
Awesome. I love it. I'm so thankful for you, Courtney. I'm thankful that I don't have to do this stuff, that, I could just click some buttons, pay some money, and show you some papers, and hey, you take care of it. I'm going to keep doing what I do. You do what you do. I'm so thankful for you. I will tell you, my entire organization is thankful for you, because when you're not a stressed scatterbrain around taxes, you're able to still do what your heart wants you to do on a daily basis. And just being able to hand it over and give it to you and just say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's not only impacting me, it's impacting an entire massive organization. So love your book, love your service, love spending time with you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
You're welcome. And the last thing I'll share is that you're exactly right. That's one of the biggest things, is that people financially will shut down if they owe money in taxes. And I too often see that people owe, or haven't even filed taxes. Like, the most I've done has been 10 years that someone has not filed their tax returns, and it financially shuts them down. And I had this one guy that I did these 10 years worth of tax returns for. He started off owing like 127,000 over the 10 years. Plus he got hit with 25% penalties because he didn't file on time. Plus the penalties and interest for not paying on time. And we got it down to like $25,000. And he never made more than $150,000 a year. And the next week he made $93,000.
Oh my gosh.
And so, you know, when you understand that, like you've got to get yourself in order and make sure that you've got, you know, that you're taken care of financially, because the last thing I want to happen is for you to get to a place where you feel uncomfortable, you don't know what to do, and you just do nothing. That's the last thing that needs to happen. And know that we can go backwards. Like we can actually go back 3 years and find money. So if you didn't claim the expenses, that I'm going to send you this deduction spreadsheet. If you didn't claim those expenses, then it may be beneficial for us to go back and get money that you thought you owed, that you do not.
I'm excited.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Jenny, and I will, anybody I can help, you just let me know. And I thank you so much for having me on your team Zoom and being a part of What's Your Plan B, Why You Be Brain Dead Not Doing a Home-Based Business.
Have an amazing night, Courtney. Thank you.
You too. Bye.